Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for being here on another episode of Therapy, etc. We have another guest today that I think can share some valuable knowledge, some gems. So I'm just going to get him in here so he can introduce himself and get the conversation going. Hello, hello. Good morning.
Hi,
How you doing?
I'm good. By yourself?
I'm good. I'm good. Do you have your cafecito ready? It's the morning, everybody, by the way. Saturday morning. Rise and shine.
Right. Well, I've been up since 6:30, so
Ooh, how come?
well, aquí mis ojos. She gets up really early. We're fortunate though. She goes to sleep every night, like at 7:30. So we have her on a pretty good schedule.
Okay. So
So early mornings in our house.
I see. Yeah, typically I usually like get up pretty early. I like to have a morning routine, and when I don't do it, I kind of feel out of it. So
Uh,
like today being Saturday, it's kind of like my day off from my routine. So I'm
yeah,
kind of feeling a little out of it. I'm like I need some extra bold coffee uh
yeah,
to get my day going at least.
yeah. So we definitely have in the last 2 years have we've definitely have to like adjust
Mhm.
because who doesn't like sleeping in, resting, resting on a Saturday morning, turning on the TV,
I know
right?
in bed. Although I don't have a TV in my bedroom, but in the past I have.
Hmm.
So TV in bed or just like lounging in like a in like cobijita.
Yeah, we miss that.
I know. I miss it too right now. And I don't even have anybody that's waking me up early.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but okay, so Herminio or JG, however you want us to address.
JG's fine.
Okay, JG. So I
Yeah,
want you to introduce yourself. I didn't really say much. I just said somebody that's going to be joining me. So introduce yourself and tell me a little bit about who you are and what you do.
sure. My name is Herminio Gonzalez. I go by JG. A lot of people ask, "Oh, what's JG?" Herminio with a J. It's Junior Gonzalez. So I'm a junior. But yeah, JG. I'm I'm a father of a 2 year old baby girl. Her name is Ariana. Been married for about 4 years,
Te van a pegar.
going on 5 years. Um, yeah, I'm married to my beautiful wife Joanna. We're both social workers. We both do community mental health.
Mhm.
I work in South LA. I'm a clinician, and I also do crisis work. Um,
Yeah.
in South LA. I grew up in South LA, proudly. I love LA. But yeah, it's grew up in a um, first generation. I'm a first generation Latino. My parents are both immigrants. My mom was from Guatemala. My dad's from Mexico.
Mhm.
Uh, so yeah. Um,
Did you find yourself having to balance like different dynamics because of the two cultures?
mm, yeah, you could say.
Yeah.
You could say. Yeah. Yeah.
So, 'cause, like for me, like I've always like in my upbringing, I feel like so I grew up in Baldwin Park.
Hmm.
He doesn't know it's the home of the first In and Out, and I actually share about more about this in like another episode. So tune in
It's
on.
off the 10, no? Yeah,
Huh?
off the 10.
Yeah, yes, off the 10. But anywho, and so in my upbringing, the majority of the people around me were Mexican or Asian Pacific Islander, so like
Right.
AAPI community. And so it wasn't until I got like into I went to college that I was like, oh, there's more.
Right.
So I'm curious to know about your experience.
South LA, I grew up around the USC area, and we had a good mixture. We had Mexican, a lot of Central American, friends that I grew up with. So I had a little bit of, you know, yo era estándar, right? So, and it's funny, my wife says that when I'm around people from Central America or Guatemala, my Guatemalan accent comes out.
Oh, interesting.
Right, and vice versa with when I'm around my Mexican peeps, right? I identify with both, and I embrace both. So
Mhm.
there wasn't really like a clash in the house. My parents are a little bit older, so they're like,
They already know what's up.
Yeah, and my dad was the type of person that if we went to, like, a soccer game between Guatemala and Mexico, he would sit on the Guatemalan side.
Oh, he's Mexican, I'm
Yeah,
assuming.
he's Mexican.
Okay. So he's
Yeah.
like supporting
Yeah,
his
yeah,
wife
yeah.
and kid.
Right, right, right. So yeah, that was the dynamic.
Wow, that's awesome.
Mhm.
So, you're mentioning that you have a daughter. She's, 2-year-old little baby, super cute.
Soon to be 2-year-old.
Yes,
Mhm.
soon to be 2 years old. She's super cute.
Yeah.
Um, and I'm always curious to know because we know that in 2020, when after Kobe Bryant died, I feel
Mhm.
that's when I saw it at least. I don't know if you saw it beforehand, but we saw the whole hashtag girl dad. And it almost seemed like, wasn't this already happening? Shouldn't you have already been a girl dad? Does it have to be um highlighted in this way? Or you know what I mean? Like, so a lot of things, a lot of surrounding this topic was coming up. And
Right,
so I'm wondering how you feel being a father
right,
to a daughter,
right.
and some of the maybe like the messages that have been instilled into you on how to raise a daughter even versus a son because it's so different. A lot, I know.
So 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 it is it different? Right?
Well, kind of.
Yes and no, right? Yes and no. So let's backtrack. Yeah, the girl dad thing, right? So it's always been a thing.
Mhm.
It's always been a thing. I think you're right. It was highlighted after Kobe died. It was the hashtag I think went about after a report I think on ESPN, and
Mhm.
so it became a thing, and it unfortunately, Kobe's death, and it took a hero, right? Most of our dads, have always kind of just um, been great dads, right? But it took this unfortunate thing that happened to Kobe and the whole girl dad thing to come about. Anyway, um, yeah, so there are challenges. Initially, I think, initially, did we think it was gonna be a girl? We always, oh my God, Ariana's gonna kill me when she hears this. But
Oh, dun dun dun.
yeah, we're gonna play this for her quince años. But we always thought, oh, va a ser niño. It's gonna be a boy, and my suegra too, and my family. Oh, it's gonna be a boy. It's gonna be a boy. And then we
Wait,
finally,
hold on, pause. How come?
well, for at least for my wife's family, it's all girls.
Oh, so this would be the first boy.
In my on my wife's side, yeah.
Oh, okay, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
So Ariana has yeah, primas, a lot of primitas, 2 primitas, I mean, small family. But my suegra had 3 girls, my cuñada has 2 girls, right?
I get it.
So I creo que
Ya toca, ya es hora.
yeah, and that's so bad, right? That's so bad.
Oh, it breaks
So,
my heart.
quiera que no, like, we started like, "Okay, well, it's a boy," names and stuff like that before it even happened. And then we get pregnant, right? We get
Mhm.
pregnant and la gente sigue. But then you realize it's okay, we're pregnant, tenemos que cuidar este embarazo. Like there's so many anxieties around it, right?
Yeah.
And we start forgetting about what the gender is. And
Mhm.
then we find out, a los meses what the gender is. Y es cuando te pego. Okay, wow. Well, es cuando me pego a mí.
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna have a girl.
What were the first thoughts?
My initial thoughts were like instantly. Ay, ay, ay. Like, um, ¿cómo le voy a hacer? She's gonna be a teen. Oh, la voy a entender. Como,
Mhm.
it's so many things. Society says that we should cuidarlas más. Son como una flor,
Yes.
como una
Como la
flor.
flor, Selena, like,
Yeah, yeah.
tender and, yeah, exactly.
You know,
Ah.
but then we sat down with Joanna and we just started like these are the same things we would kind of think about if it was a boy,
Mhm.
right? The same. We want Ariana to be, strong-minded, independent.
And
Um,
he is already.
yes, yes. So we want to continue that. We want to instill things that maybe we learned as kids, the good things that we learned as kids.
Mm.
Um,
Right, and now I feel like I need to know what are some of the bad things.
no, I mean I was a latchkey kid. First of all, I was a latchkey kid.
Yeah, I was too.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
was I
So
didn't even know what that meant until I was, like, again in college. I'm like, "Wait, that's a thing? I thought that was normal." Yeah, you have a key.
that's me.
Yeah, like, your parents aren't home when you get home, the food's there, or you prepare something, and that's
Unas quesadillas. Oh, I love quesadillas.
oh my god, me too!
That
I
was my
love
go-to.
quesadillas.
That was my go-to.
Yeah, or rice
So,
and beans, and my mom would leave rice and beans ready all the time in el comal, or, like, on the stove.
yeah, y esto todo aguacatito y todo. No,
I would feel real hooked up.
Yeah. So again, you wanna teach the good things, treat them how the good, just be careful. There's so many things in this world. And again, is it only for girls or is it like for boys? And um, what I will say though is one thing that I do want to do is darle su lugar, como una persona, like a human being, let her know that, um, teach her that I'm going to listen to her. Um, I'm going to give her the opportunity to express herself and whatever she wants to do, I want to be a part of. Um, I want to know her thoughts. I want to just acknowledge
Mhm,
everything but her appearance, if that makes sense.
mhm.
Does that make
This
sense?
is yeah, and because that's always the go-to, like, que bonita versus, her accomplishments or our
Right,
accomplishments.
right, right. And that means anything. That means it, like if she wants to play baseball, or, maybe she doesn't want to be ballerina, or maybe she doesn't want to be, maybe she doesn't want to wear pink. Like I just bought her like a Kershaw jersey and it's blue. Yeah, I'm
Mhm.
sorry, but uh, but
I love
yeah. So I kind of just want her to express herself, and we want to listen to her. I want to support her with anything um, positive. We want to instill good things. Some of our culture,
mhm.
eh, religion to a certain extent, faith, and things like that. So yeah.
You mentioned religion, and I think that's, like, a big one that I hear often, and I often wonder, like, you know, I always think that if I do have children, I wanna give them choice, but
Mm,
I also want them to have, like, so I grew up Catholic,
same.
and yeah, and, it's not a very fair religion, for
Yeah.
lack of a better word.
Yeah.
Uh,
Especially with this topic, that girl dad, right?
exactly, yeah, and so, but there are some things that I value. Like, I value the sacraments, I value the baptism and the communion and the confirmation. I
Yeah.
value those things.
Yeah, I feel the same
Why?
way.
But also I don't know why those are so important. I think because these are the things uh, that I have really good memories around. Like, not the baptism, that was too young to remember, but with the communion and the confirmation, I remember the memories around those times, and that could be the reason why they feel so special for me.
Mhm,
But I am curious to know, like, how do you navigate religion, knowing that you grew up Catholic, like you mentioned, but
mhm.
also how does that play a role in choice for her?
I think it's gonna play out the same way it played out with me. Same thing, sacraments. My mom said she used to be really, like, hyper religious, but I don't think so. She was she was just like any other Catholic. We went to church maybe twice a year,
Yeah,
right?
I know, I know. During Christmas. an Easter.
Yeah, but when I was a teen, I remember when I got into my confirmation, I started going to church a lot, but even by myself.
Oh, wow,
I
okay.
I even taught catechism, you
You
know?
did?
Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
wow. I didn't know that.
yeah, yeah. I won't talk about how that ended, but, uh, I was uh, when I say religious, I like the community. I had a good relationship with, both of the fathers. They were brothers, actually.
Mhm.
They did a lot for the community. I had a lot of good relationships there. I went a lot, but
Mhm.
then me alejé un poco, right? Me alejé un poco. Life, school, work, blah blah blah.
Mhm.
But I still honor it. I still honor it. It's evident here in my house. Like, we're planning a baptism soon,
Mhm.
so we want to definitely introduce that to her, and she'll make her own decision, and we're okay with that. You
Yeah.
know, we're okay with that. We'll provide the tools, and if she wants to build her Arca de Noé, wow, that just connected,
I
then
know it did.
she can do it,
You.
pero si ella quiere,
Yeah.
son cosas positivas, right?
Yeah, that's a good way of looking at it and navigating that. It's
Yeah,
tough
yeah,
just even
yeah,
thinking about it, or even just even for what like ourselves, because we were put into this place, at least in my situation, and it sounds like in some ways yours too. And it's just like this is just what you do. And
yeah.
uh, but for me, I didn't really feel like I had choice. It was like this is just what it is.
Mhm.
Even though what is interesting about this though is that I've been to several different um, religious churches or places,
Yeah.
and my mom always let me go. So there was a point that I was going to Christian, like a Christian church, and I remember that I'd go to Sunday school, and I have like the whole like I remember having like a little bus pick us up and take us to Sunday school, this whole thing.
Mhm.
Um, and then when I got older, I remember I have a friend, or she's an old friend, and she took me to her church. It was a different religion. I can't remember the name of it now.
Mhm.
Um, but my mom always let me go, so I guess I did have more choice than what I thought. Now that I say that out loud,
Right, right.
but I
That's
didn't
cool.
recognize. I didn't have the words to know. It was just like, oh, I'm just joining her. Maybe my mom was just happy I was going. Like, go find someone, find a higher power.
I think it all goes back to like kind of what I just said. As long as it's positive, it's
Mm.
positive, and there's boundaries,
Mhm.
right? Um, within yourself about religion. I mean, I don't know. Cada quien.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. So
yeah,
that's where we are kind of. I don't know what her choices are gonna be, but
yeah.
uh, si es positivo, pues ahí estamos. You know.
So, earlier you were saying about how you like want to hear her and support her and, acknowledge all of the things. Uh, Appearance is one of them, but not the whole thing.
Mhm.
And so, where did you learn that? Because that's even something that I feel I don't hear very often. Like the typical is if you have a boy, they're wearing blue. If you have a girl, they're wearing pink, and even the decorations and baby showers, it's all very oriented towards a certain gender.
Right.
So where did you learn to have to or to be able to ask these questions or say and hear things in a different way than what
Mhm.
the norm is?
Yeah. Yeah, the way sorry, I'm thinking about that movie, The Godfather. You watched The
Okay.
Godfather?
I have. There's like a
First
few.
episode, first episode, there's this guy, Luca Brasi, and he's
Mhm.
outside he was outside of the wedding for Don Corleone, and he's like practicing how he's gonna talk to the boss, which is the Godfather.
Mhm.
And he says, Godfather, uh, may your first grandson be a strong grandson. and he keeps on like repeating himself. And it's this whole societal thing, right? Like this boy and strong and carry out the name,
Yes. Yes.
Corleone, you know?
Yes.
Latinos are the same, you
I
know?
know. When you're saying that, I'm literally like, I'm like envisioning it. Like I feel like I'm living it.
Yeah. Um, where did I learn to be different? Um,
Especially because in Latino culture, unfortunately, there's a whole machismo aspect that comes into play.
yeah. Well, I'm processing my life right now as we're talking. My mom was very strong,
Hmm.
you know. My mother was very strong. I'm not saying my dad was a pushover, um, but my mom um raised me to respect women, I
Hmm.
think.
Hmm.
um Sometimes even she was a little bit overbearing, you know.
Like
You
how?
know.
What would she do? That was too much.
Yeah. Was I a mama's boy? Maybe I was a mama's boy. She took care of me, you know. She took care of me. Um, but she always told me to. I don't know. In some sense, I think she was preparing me for the 21st century.
Hmm.
You know, um,
What's to come?
aprende a hacer tus cosas.
Ese era el mensaje.
Aprende a hacer tus cosas para que tú no dependas de nadie.
Ujú.
Y I don't know how you're gonna feel about this. Las mujeres de hoy
No,
ya
no
no
hace nada.
no hacen nada, right?
I've heard that.
Right, you've heard that.
I've heard that.
In my head, at that age, I'm thinking women are lazy, but I think what she meant was, I hope this is what she meant, que las mujeres ya son más independientes,
Okay. I'm gonna go
trabaja
with
like my
you.
mom trabajaba. That's why I was a latchkey kid, because my mom, had to supplement.
Mhm, mhm,
Right?
mhm.
Tenía que aportar, tenía que my mom was widowed in Guatemala, so ella mantenía a mis hermanos,
Ah, mhm.
in Guatemala.
Oh, I see. So yeah, she felt like she had an added responsibility.
Right.
Uh-huh.
So, siempre trabajaba,
Mm,
siempre trabajaba. So, now that I think about it, yo siempre valoré eso, you
mhm.
know, yo le quiero enseñar a Ariana that it's like, this is gonna sound so bad, but it's okay for dad to cook you breakfast. It's okay for dad to do the dishes.
That's normal. It shouldn't have to seem like abnormal, right?
It's normal, but in society,
Yeah, yeah,
old school mentality,
yep.
even our parents are still kind of, you
Mhm.
know, sírvele a tu hermano.
Oh yeah. So I don't hear that in my immediate family, like
Mhm.
my within my siblings. I actually don't hear that. And as you're sharing, I'm like so reflecting and really like embodying some of these words because so my mom also she would work two jobs, and so this is why I was a latchkey kid also. um,
Mhm.
so I would come home and she was gone by the time I got home from school, and she would get home either depending on what job she went to or what she was doing, or where she was in her phase in life when it came to one job versus another.
Right.
But she would either get home maybe like around 9 or 10, or she'd get home until like 2 or 3 in the morning. But she would
Wow.
also clean offices at times too. So um, I always kind of grew up with this thought of like, well, we just got to work. We have to work extra hard always.
Right.
So now as an adult, I feel like sometimes that backfires because
Mm.
I've heard these words of like, oh, you're too independent, or oh, you don't need a man, that kind of stuff. It's like, well, it's not that. It's like it's that if I want to do something, I'm going to do it. I don't need to wait around and wonder like. if somebody gonna approve or not approve.
Well, I
Um,
think they're right, you don't need a man. You don't need a man.
right. Yeah, no, and absolutely. That's true. Like
You should want a person.
something
Yeah.
that can complement like a partner in what I would want.
Mhm, mhm.
So I hate hearing that because it's like yeah, I sometimes, build my own furniture or do certain things, but it's because, I want to and I can. And that's also how I grew up with the mentality of you can do that. So going back to your comment about sirve a tu hermano, I think I would do that with my little brother and little sister. I have it's five of us in total, and so my little brother and little sister. But my older brothers, it was never this whole thing of having to take care of them,
The
um,
expectation.
an expectation. And
Mm,
even within my like when I look at my larger family, I don't see that either.
mm,
Maybe if anything, like ask your Thea if she wants something to drink, something like that, much more casual versus an expectation. And I
really.
think that came because, like your mother, my mother's also like a strong woman, like still working up until today.
Mhm, mhm. Yeah, I mean, I see it. I think we broke the mold, right? So first generation, I mean, I think that's gonna be out the door pretty soon. But you go to Mexico though, right?
Oh my
I
goodness, don't get me started.
Yeah, it's it's still my fam I we went to Mexico last year and a half ago
Mhm.
to see La Virgencita, right? Um, and my family lives in DF, so down the street from Basilica. And they I got up in the morning and I've shared this story with you before. I was washing the baby's bottles,
Oh yeah.
and
Mhm.
my primo was like, "No, no, no, let me do it, let me do it." I'm like, "No, I do this every morning." And they're like, "What? You do this?" Like, and
They look at you amazed.
I'm like, "What? Esto no es ciencia. Like, why? You know?" Um, and they thought it's a thing. They even like commented during like lunch and dinner to my primos, like, "Oh, fíjate que el Junior, like he's washing the baby bottles y bien, bien atento el papá and this
You're
and
like a normal parent should be.
right, right,
But it's normal for them because they don't see that.
because my wife is dealing with the baby,
Yeah.
uh,
You have to
so
eat stuff right now, at least washing in that moment, at least.
that's the least I can do,
Yeah.
right, right,
What
but
a
yeah,
difference.
big difference, big difference.
Difference. And I think like us being first generation and our all of our friends kind of being in a similar position as us in terms of like young professionals, etc. Um, it's so interesting to see, like, reflect back on other family members or other people that are in different phases in their life where they haven't been able to make the transition or break the mold
Mhm.
like we have because of messages I think that were given, in
And
this
it's not bad, like,
time.
if it works for them, if it works for them, then that's completely fine.
Yeah, for sure.
But for us, I mean, my wife is we're both, we work a lot. We work a lot and, you
Mhm,
know, se
mhm.
hay que seguir, hay que seguir, ahí andamos. Si no es ella, soy yo con la bebé and it's, we're learning. We're learning.
I do wonder though, like what makes us so different, Like I guess what I mean is like so the hope is that, this new breaking the mold, this breaking the mold will now bring up different conversations in the people around us and then our future generations, right? But
Mhm.
for others that maybe are still doing things a more traditional way, so to speak,
Right.
um, is it education? Is it drive? Is it mentor?
Personality.
What they see? What was that?
Personality.
Personality? Yeah, like I really do wonder, like, because even within my family, like my siblings are very different from me. Like, we're all amazing people, but we're all very different. And we
Mhm.
all grew up together.
Mhm.
I always wonder like what makes us so different, or and then we all kind of gravitate towards one another too, which is I think is so amazing that you gravitate towards people. And I guess yeah, that makes sense. You gravitate towards people that share
Like-minded.
commonalities.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's, hay que hacer una encuesta, you know?
I know we need to do a poll here.
Yeah, yeah. Um, not to knock anyone's, I mean, we are learning, we go day by day, and, if it works for other families, that's cool, you know? Some moms are able to stay home. Some dads are able to stay home.
And that's even looked at so like they echan ojo, like what's happening there?
¿Y este qué?
Yeah, which I think is like so amazing that people can do that.
Right,
If it's one
right.
or the other, I don't think it matters if it's one or the other. Also,
No, no. If I could, I
there
would.
you
You
go.
know?
I'm gonna tell Joanna.
Yeah, but, ay, salud, salud.
Oh, there you go. Yes, we're drinking some coffee for anybody that's hearing us, but here's maybe like our cups clinking.
Yeah, um, but yeah, going back to this whole topic about girl dad, those are the things that I we want to instill in the baby, like expectations. No, should be no expectations.
Mhm.
Self-worth. I think that's the word. That's the phrase, self-worth.
Yeah.
Self-worth, date tu lugar.
Mhm.
Um, love yourself,
Mhm.
you know, respect others, love others,
Yeah.
you know,
Be an amazing
despite.
little human being.
Hmm?
Be an amazing little human, or grow up to be an amazing human being.
That's the goal. That's the goal.
Yeah.
You know, respectful, you know. I
Mhm.
mean, there's so many things that I want for Ariana, but
She'll maybe ask you questions, or she will naturally uh, go into those spaces, or take those steps.
right, right. And she does already. It's funny you say that, you know.
Mhm.
Um, yeah. But yeah.
So, any last gems, questions, tools, messages, I guess you want to share with us before we wrap up?
Yeah, I mean, I think just being a dad, I think is challenging.
Mhm.
Um for your first kid at least. I'm learning um as we go. I learn day by day. I have my proud moments about myself. Then I have days where I'm like, oh, like I could have done better.
Mm.
I forgive myself though. I know no two kids are the same. Um, so I have to adapt just like she has to adapt.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, I can't really give advice, because I'm learning. But maybe to new dads, um, enjoy the moments.
Mhm.
Uh, en un abrir y cerrar de ojos, yeah, she's about to be two. You
I
know,
I remember when she was still in the belly.
yeah, yeah.
It feels like yesterday.
And I talked to Joanna, and I'm like, oh, this is definitely my favorite phase right now. But I don't know any other phases in the future, but I'm just enjoying certain phases.
We can circle back during teenage years and see how this is working out for you.
Right, right. But these are conversations to be had with others. If anybody wants to reach out and have a convo about this, or
Yeah.
a group, I'm totally open to it.
Where can
Not in
people,
a clinical way, but more of like
like a support group,
yeah,
or
yeah,
even like if they have a question about anything that you've shared?
right,
Oh,
right.
okay. So what's your email, or how can anybody that's listening or watching contact you?
I guess they can email me. So it's Herminio.Gonzalez. Herminio spelled Herminio .Gonzalez, Gonzalez,
Mhm.
01 at gmail.com.
Got it. And I will link this also if anybody is curious to talk with JG and learn a little bit about what he knows so far and what maybe advice he can provide. So
Right.
before we go, I guess my last question always is like, how do you take care of yourself with all of these things that you've shared with being a new dad and um, learning as you go? What are some of the self-care practices that JG practices or tries to at least?
Well, I on a daily I keep in contact with, this whole pandemic, such a difficult time for all of us. But I make sure I check in with, family, uh,
Mhm.
all my friends. I do a lot of TV. I love
What are you watching?
huh?
What are you watching right now?
You don't want to know what I'm watching.
I My sister just got me into this show. It's called Your Mother's Killer or something like that. It's in Spanish, so it's actually called La Venganza de Analicia or something like that. I'm intrigued, guys. I can't. I love this kind of stuff. It's a
Yeah,
novela, so I'm all about it.
I'm watching Mariposa de Barrio.
Oh, pues sí. I already saw. There's so many episodes. Pero Mariposa de Barrio.
So real. Some episodes, man,
Oh my God. I was like,
heavy,
whew,
heavy.
yeah, that's like a whole other conversation. We can do a whole like episode on Mariposa de Barrio.
There are some episodes that had me feeling anxious,
Me
but
too.
you're right. This is a different episode.
It could
Yeah,
be maybe future topic.
yeah. I can't believe they took The Office off Netflix because that's my that
Was
brings me home. That brings me, you know.
was that like the type of show that you can just play in the background and just be like hanging out, washing dishes or whatnot?
Yep, that's our pregnancy show.
Oh, why do they take it down?
I don't know.
Oh, it's
I don't.
probably on another streaming service, I'm assuming, right?
It's on Peacock, and I think it's on Apple. So,
Oh, I see.
so
Okay.
yeah. So I watch
A new one then.
TV.
I don't think it's
I've
gonna be
been running also. I've been running.
I love
Yeah.
yeah.
So one of our friends challenged me to 100 miles this month.
Oh, snap.
So
How's it going?
it's going well. I don't know what number I'm at, but I'm running almost at least 4 times a week.
Wow, that's amazing.
So that's a good disconnect. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Next month will be my Peloton, and I can catch up with you.
I've been writing that thing.
Yeah,
Hey. All right. Well, thank you so much for being here today. It was such
absolutely.
a
Thank you
pleasure to
for
have this
having me.
conversation. Uh,
Yeah,
and I look forward to potentially having more of this. I feel like there's so many like little things that we talked about that can be further expanded. And I think it'd be really cool to bring that to light.
absolutely. Yeah.
Uh,
Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right. Bye, everyone. Thank you for being here. Please don't forget to rate, comment, follow all the things. Please follow Therapy Etc. podcast on Instagram. We can also um, be found on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and YouTube. You can watch us there as well. So please rate, subscribe, follow, do all the things. I really appreciate it. All right. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.